It's definitely an extreme pleasure to be with a group of such great souls and those that are spitting my orange juice this morning. Out there, all of you guys that are rolling your sleeves up and doing the do, and also helping others. The reports coming in of all you helping others is just incredible. I tell you, you guys are becoming great healers. I really love that. Working on catching up. I'll probably come in tomorrow and film for 2 or 3 hours. We have a guest today, Irina, from the Ukraine. She's been in Florida 18 years or something in America. She's sitting in. She's has a lot of different degrees, massage therapy. She works with the skin. She does all kinds of things. It's pretty cool stuff. So appreciate you coming in and sitting, getting some clinicals, and see how we do things and what are we about, you know. So I want to carry on and get to these questions because I know I'm behind on them, and I apologize again. If there is a stat or emergency need for a question, or you're in a healing crisis and you know what that is, please give us a call here at the clinic there. Thank you, Drew. Pretty blue shirt.
I know, thank you. I appreciate that.
You got it, man. Oh, okay, so let's take off on this a little bit here and get some of these questions down. But this one is from Rossmore, and let's see. Got a friend due to have elective surgery on diverticulitis, which is inflammation of bowel pockets, basically diverticulum. And he is 45 years old, has severe irritation that has him put in the hospital for several days and rounds of antibiotics. And remember, the more we do antibiotics, the more we actually suppress the lymph system and exacerbate the problem. They just don't realize that. Can't kill the messenger. And this is part of the problems with antibiotics, is that it sets you up for more lymphatic suppression, more acidosis, more inflammation, etc., 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 until you have the decay of the cell, and then you have the cell becoming a cancer cell. I mean, it's as simple as it is. He eats a sad American diet, which is high in protein and garbage. Well, he needs to change. You can let him listen to this, my friend, but high protein diet only served to irritate those diverticulums even more. Plus, a lot of this is probably coming from the inside out. Remember, in the wall where all the cells are, that's where the lymph system is. Even though his connective tissue is weak, when you herniate tissue, whether it's a bowel pocket or prolapsus or spastic conditions, all these type of herniations, whether it's varicose veins or spider veins, remember, we're going to the parathyroid gland and the body's inability to utilize calcium, keeping in mind that the reason we're losing calcium out of structure is always acidosis. So that always has to be rectified, obviously, but it doesn't hurt to bring up that parathyroid a little bit so we can utilize calcium. I mean, in a while, those bowel pockets will become the bowel wall again. You can keep cutting out your bowels, but, you know, colon cancers or surgeries aren't always fun, and you with all this inflammation, of course, you get the scar tissue and the adhesions, and the concern is going in several times with surgeries, and then you got the neurotoxic effect of anesthesia. So you got all these issues to deal with. Or is it better to change your diet, my friend, and get your bowels healthy? Because this could be indication that you're systemically involved lymphatically, and that creates a lot of problems. Remember, most cancers are lymphomas. I told him to juice because almost everything he eats irritates his bowels. Yeah, I would do the slippery elm, marshmallow tea, the heal all tea if he can tolerate it. We use that for that sort of thing as kind of a topical way. Stomach and bowel, number one, depending how much he moves his bowels or not. If he doesn't move his bowels, you go on up there. Because even with Someone asked me about the oxidative process, and I want to throw in the ionization process, and I'm going to give you a little more of an intellectual jargon on this. Not today. I don't only have about 25 minutes, but I'll get to your question, and I'll show you a little bit more in depth of the body that way. But not needed, because there isn't one person you're going to sit there and talk to them about that. As long as you understand oxidation, the catabolic anabolic process, it's duality at its finest. Duality dictates acid and base. Catabolic anabolic, breaking down, building up. Anionic, coagulation, stagnation, dehydration, and cationic, which is rehydration and activity. So you see the swinging between these two poles of duality in chemistry. You see it in physics. You see it in all sciences related to creation. Outside of creation, there isn't the duality, because there's the one. And that's what we were talking about yesterday. As you move away from the physical world, you move away from the more mundane bodies, the more inert levels of creation, the more one things become. The further away from God you have expression, the more things seem individual and separate. So it's just the way life is, but it's the way the drama has to play out, because without individual separations, I wouldn't be able to drink this orange juice. Let me see. She is now focused on her weight and wants to try this new diet where they give you HCG injections so your hunger is suppressed, and they put you on a 500 calorie per day diet. What are your thoughts? What are my thoughts on HCG injections? I don't think you have to ask. I don't think you have to ask about that. I think that the best way to do it is change your lifestyle and get hooked on raw foods. Whether you have 100 raw foodists is not important. If you push sometimes people to become 100% raw foodists, they'll leave. You do it for yourself and excite them to power up that way. But as a practitioner, don't expect all your clients to do it. If you do, you want to aim that way, you want to push them that way, your job is a way shower. And you want to keep pulling them to more raw, more fruits, berries, and melons, absolutely. But you can't hang them over with a sludge hammer and then judge them because they didn't do it. You wouldn't make a good healer that way. You want to have love and expression, because you understand we all struggle with these things. Especially the older you are and the more conditioned thinking and things like that. The younger you are, the more energetic, the more focused, the more adventuresome, all these things. And if you're born from raw food parents, I can't tell you how lucky you are. I just can't begin to tell you. I only pray that I could be born from raw food parents who were born from raw food parents, and we kept going down that line, because we wouldn't be where we are. But that's, I guess, why we're talking. But raw food diet is the only true way to lose weight. Now remember, there are going to be some, and you guys didn't ask me this question, there are going to be some that actually gain weight. I was filling out a protocol for this young lady. She's 5'8", 306 pounds. Now, it's possible because of the high acidosis, and this case had a tremendous amount of boils. This case had tremendous amount of lymph problems from day one. Lost her tonsils at 6. You can see just what she's describing about herself, the tremendous problems that she's been having. Cysts and boils all over the place. Heavy lymphatic problems. Well, the only way is to get on these programs. She might gain a little weight when you start detoxifying these people, because she's so acidic, the body's going to hold water. Remember, you can get a little more edemic in an acidic environment. That's where you see all the congestive heart failures, the pulmonary edemas. You see all the swelling of the ankles. You see swelling during menses. Women always see swelling during menses, bloating, because estrogen is an acidic steroid. So the more acid you see building up in the body, the more the body must protect itself against this, the acid side of chemistry. So edema, swelling, this is just one of the side effects, the hypertrophies, the enlargements, because it's the body protecting itself. Remember, it brings in cholesterol, it takes calcium, anything to fight acids, because remember, when acids win, you lose. And we're not going to lose to acids, are we? No. So, HCG. tell her physician to give themselves that shot. Now, let me see. This is Brian. I need your help to find the correct direction for my son, which is having some health issues related to extreme autism developed at age 17. Look at that. Hearing voices, insomnia, unwilling to drink enough water, IBS, inability to hold stool or urine sometimes, copper and heavy metal toxicity. I have a book by Norman Walker, good book, which has some recommendations related to spinach juice and also carrot, among other things. I can only tell you that carrot juice was the fad back then, but a very bad detoxifier. And I've talked to you about that in my own case, Dr. Jensen's case. And carrot juice doesn't have near the power. Matter of fact, of the veggies, it's probably the least powerful. Greens are much more powerful at detoxifying. Wheatgrass is far better to detoxify the body than carrot juice. And for carrots for the liver, I'd go beets. Much more powerful. I've done plenty of carrot juice fasts, many weeks of carrot juice fast, and I've done a 3-day beet juice fast that kicked my butt. So there's a big difference in what you use to fast with, and carrots is not really the one you want to deal with. This young man needs the fruits and berries and melons real bad, particularly the fruits and the berries. They're neurological. They're the endocrine gland, and this is really what you're going after. The neurological part of fruit strengthens the myelin sheath and strengthens the nervous system. At the same time, of course, you're working on the adrenals. At the same time, you want to pull out neurotoxins that this young man might have been subjected to, whether it's from vaccines or whatever source. It doesn't matter. Pop the fillings out of his mouth if he's got them and get composites. You want to do all those sort of things. I'd probably use upper circuit brain and nerve, particularly on this young man. Definitely head off in the kidneys, the adrenals, the GI tract. He's got IBS. So you know his lymph system is backed up all through him. And this is something you really want to go after, is this lymph system with him. And of course that adrenals. Here we go. Here's the autonomic nervous system you're dealing with here. And even reaches up into the CNS. And then of course you can go after the CNS, central nervous system, the brain, the hard drive. And you go after him in that way. And start getting this young man on the planet here. That'll clean up his bowels. So you want to definitely get into the GI tract again with the stomach and bowel formulas. I think probably you got insomnia and he's not holding his urine. I'm probably going to be up in the central nervous system again. I'm probably going to be pituitary involved. If he's not holding his urine well, you're going to find that involved in the pituitary stem. Could be more local with the adrenals and the bladder and all that, but with the insomnia and the autism and all this, I'm probably going right up here in the head. That's why upper circulation, the new brain and nerve formula, I'd probably hit his pituitary 1 and 1. That's a glandular. If you really wanted to hit his pineal gland, I would do that too, with a little pineal, maybe glandular 2 at night before he goes to bed, that sort of thing. But you got to detox this young man's head. Well, remember, we've been talking a lot about the GI tract relationship to the head area. You must clean up the gut if you want to clean up the head. You're not going to drain the sinuses or the head if the gut is backed up, and this IBS is obviously leading you to that area as well. So you've got to clean up this IBS, which is really just another word for acidosis or interstitial lymphatic constipation. And that's what this young man's got. Where you're going back to the kidneys and adrenals. Well, what do you got? Autism. So it's not only adrenals, there's too much of a central nervous system issue, in my opinion, in this young man as well. So you've got to get up there and head after this. This would be very important for this young man for so many reasons. And I'm sure he's not real happy about the urination problems. And it's just the pituitary problem there that needs. Copper loves the kidneys, so get that out of the kidneys there. Again, moving the heavy metals and probably neurotoxins as well. But detox, detox, detox. You could use some green drinks with this young man. Alfalfa sprouts, parsley obviously, beet juice, dandelion greens in season, spinach, anything like that, absolutely. And make a more powerful green drink. If you have to use a little carrot to buffer it, okay. Probably use a little apple as opposed to a little carrot. Carrot's just a starchy veggie, and nobody seems to be raising good carrots nowadays, including Bunny Love. I think Bunny Love carrots, those guys used to have best carrots sweet, and unless you get up into Canada, those carrots were killers. But I don't know, somebody's not taking care of soils or something. Betty Love carrots down here are very bitter. Need to know how to proceed to alleviate all my son's nervous tensions and fears. Your feedback is, I appreciate that. I need to know about juicing combinations for this. All right, got that. Cooked or raw or both. Animal protein, he is zero positive blood. I don't care what his blood is. Zero protein. Zero protein. With IBS and all this problem, you keep acidifying him, there's no way you're going to pull him out of it. So zero protein. Get your amino acids from where all the strongest animals do. The primates and the herbivores, all the horses and elephants and cows. These guys lead perfect examples of why meat eating is on the negative side. Look at the animals that are more meat eaters. They're more violent. They have less endurance. They sleep a lot. That sort of thing. So you just and they stink. They stink bad. So get him away from all proteins, real important. He is 6 foot tall, 145 pounds. So he's probably malabsorbed. He's 6 foot tall, could have been the pituitary again, popping him up there. Half Persian, half American. He was an honor student and an excellent athlete in track. He won lots of trophies until 6 years ago and almost died from antibiotics. Holy crap. Jesus. Yeah. More medical intervention, more medical. These guys need to be held accountable. We're not holding our people accountable when they hurt us. Hey, Latin, I'm just going to call you this beautiful woman Latin. I would like you to discuss high fat, even the healthy ones. I have many friends who give their kids avocados, coconut, and nuts, and one friend has a son who has had 2 heart surgeries, and he is only 9 months old. This young man's, this is my point. You see what's going on with the kids? Oh my God. A lot of kids are being born with holes in their hearts, blah, 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 blah. Well, tissues on the decay, and big time in the Homo sapien race, exacerbated by the allopathic thinking. And there's no way you can prove that any day of the week. Medical doctors do not want to pull us into court or their day's done. Their day's done because we have so much evidence against these guys, it's not even funny. This is unbelievable. 9 months old. Well, you got some regeneration to do on that young man. And at 9 months old, you can start slipping him some fruit juices, definitely some coconut milks and stuff like that. The high fat, you want fatty acids. That's what you're looking for. Naturally found in avocados and natural foods. So I wouldn't even worry about the fats. I would look at the diet. And of course, this is not appropriate for 9 months probably right now, but Jennifer's fed her children at 9 months fruits and all kinds of things. So you can talk to her. She's more experienced with the children than I am in terms of having your own. I mean, I've had a couple of children, but these, and I've raised, like I said, my a younger son, fruitarian, but now somewhat difficult. But you do what you can on these. The children are just like anybody else. They're just little people. And they need the same diets. And particularly, you want to mature them up with the fruits and the berries. If you want to get into the salads, fine. Avocados, fine. Coconuts, fine. That sort of thing, fine. Think of yourself in a tropical setting and what that diet would be, and you'd be right on point there. If you put yourself in the northern climates and think you're off point, the problem is the environment influence on you, the environmental influence on a person. Weather, altitude, all these other things definitely has an influence on the human body. At the same time, though, I don't care where you live and what altitude you're at. When I put you on a raw food diet, when I put you on predominantly fruit diet, you all get better. Now, there are some people that are having a real hard time. And you have to hang in there. We have one young man just can't eat anything. And we have that, people that get so inflamed that they can't even drink water. Now, these are tough cases, and you got to work yourself through these cases. You usually have to use slippery elm, marshmallow, whatever you can, mullein, whatever you can for anti-inflammatories. There's nutrition in those, but you got to get that inflammation out of there, which means you got to get the acids out of there. And of course, this is the lymph system, and that goes to the kidneys and adrenals. So you've got to work on your clients all together here, and as gentle as you can with those that can't tolerate anything going down there. This is some of the problems with the IBSs and the Crohn's and things. It just doesn't stay there. It gets worse and worse and worse, and then you can get to the point where you can't tolerate anything going down that canal. Well, that's how God kind of puts you into a fast, basically. So thank you, Latin sweetheart. Oh, this is 212. 212. Hi, there's a good day. I have heard that nuts that contain a shell are actually a tumor and they're cancerous to eat. You know what, sweetheart? I've never heard that, but how interesting is that? I've often thought, again, I've said that the reason there's hard shells on a nut, in my opinion, is that so we don't overeat them. We just don't have anything aggressive. Now, we have the mind to create tools like the primates, but we create more than tools. Look at what all we created. But on the positive side, there's the negative side of what man's created, isn't there? And man is dying from the negative side of what he created, and all the chemistry he thought was so good for us is now coming and killing us. So this is the problem, and yet no one's willing to stand up and talk about it. You know, everybody's worried about re-elections and everything else instead of the reality. And what they don't understand is if you're really into truth and you work it, you'll get re-elected anyway, because people want those that are working for the folk, not for each other to put more money in their pockets. And whatever level you call that. I don't know what to say. I'm a tropical thinker, so I like coconuts. I don't I just don't do nuts. The problem with nuts is I can just overdo them. I mix raisins with pecans or almonds. I sit there and eat handfuls, but then I don't feel so good. And I just don't like the texture and the way nuts are. But I love them. I mean, they all taste good to me. But with that said, minimal use of nuts would be advantageous. Now that somebody cracks them for us, we can eat them by the handfuls. Way too much concentrated chemistry. Look at nature. Always use nature as your barometer. I was talking to some young man in the UK yesterday with cerebral palsy. Fantastic soul. This guy's so aware that when he was young, he was asking high spiritual questions as a youth. You know, like, why are you drinking milk? No animal drinks milk. And he was a little tot asking that of his dad. I thought he was very aware. And the things he was telling me that he was observing as a child, he was using nature as his barometer. And that's what we got to do. That's the laboratory, not man's laboratory. Nature is the laboratory. Look at this biosphere. This biosphere supports untold amount of creatures. To do that, can imagine how everything has to intertwine to support that level of different species. Amazing stuff. And so I use that as my barometer, and since I consider us tropical species, use that as a barometer. I think coconut is your really fine nut. Now, I am a lover of pine and pignolia nuts. Expensive, very oily nut. If I say anything about oils, that would be my second choice for children. They're very doable. You can mix pine nuts with raisins if you want. Nice little snack. Get plenty of fatty acids for brain and nerve growth. Again, when we have this idea that more is better in this country, and it is not. It is about digestion, absorption, and utilization. We're focusing on elimination because we've failed so much at what we've failed at what we've ingested in terms of the types of food, which has broken down our eliminative organs. So to get better digestion and absorption and utilization, we have to go to the butt end of the donkey. We have to start from elimination first and work our way to proper digestion, absorption, and utilization. We can't start with proper digestion. Can't do it anymore. You got to go to the back and work from the back end, and you'll be much more successful with that when you do that. I don't have a lot longer. They're going to pull the curtain on me here in a minute. So again, your questions are so great, and I'm really humbled that you keep with me here and keep on these things. This is Yoga by Kate. Love you, dear. Great to see you again. Great to see you. Thanks for uplifting presence. Thank you so much. The question is, I know you don't like digestive enzymes, but is there a downside to taking pancreas glandulars? No, not at all. I would rather see you take a pancreatic glandular, which affects the cells in terms of an energetic way, as opposed to taking what they need to produce. It is so much better to deal with making cells healthy. And glandulars are more aimed at cell energetics as opposed to what cells are producing. You know, when it comes to the endocrine glands, when we deal with what cells are producing, we then lose the cell. And we see this in the medical world a lot with the steroid use. Bad thing to do. We had another case yesterday, heavy steroids all of her life. Of course, now she can't produce her own well. So there's some trouble with the adrenal glands, and you can't do that in that way. So yeah, you could do that. I've read that both the Gerson therapy and Dr. Nick Gonzalez used this to break down tumors. Well, I think it's ridiculous to think you're going to use digestive enzymes to break down tumors. I think that's insane. I think that that is ridiculous. I don't see that at all. Understand what a tumor is. It's not just something that grows there for no reason. It's a backed up lymph system. Tumors are just lymph fluids or interstitial fluids. That's where you see the 1/4 blood, 3/4 lymph. That's all tumors and cysts are. They're holding tanks, they're closets, they're storage rooms. And when you get the kidneys filtering, these all storage rooms come out. The enzymes are not going to digest them enough. I guess if you maybe inserted them, but we were talking about a tumor that's full of acid fluid. So, it is better to understand what forms them and go after it that way. That's the problem with some of these individuals. They don't focus on so much of the causative factors, and you got to get the kidneys. But in due respect to this, we're one of the few people that only think about the kidneys in terms of the elimination of the lymph system. This is not the theory of the allopathic community dominated even holistic thinking. And you see that still today, where allopathic thinking has dominated natural health thinking, and that's why we should never let that happen. That's why a lot of people get arrested for treating diseases, but practicing medicine without a license. The problem is, who wants to practice medicine? There's a lot of people that egotistically want to practice medicine. Why? It's a top killing machine on the planet. It's hurt more people than anything else out there. So it's kind of sad that we feel that modality has to be brought up on a pedestal even more. Wondering if pancreas glandular would be good to do in conjunction with your diet. Yeah, absolutely, dear one. Hey, Dr. Morris, this is Rat Face Kick. That's an interesting name, Rat Face Kick. Yeah. Hey, Dr. Morris, what do you think of the body ecology diet? I'm really curious because I have pretty bad dysbiosis in my gut, in my gut, and was wondering if you thought that would be an okay starting point for me, because I can't handle the high fruit diet. The sugars make me crash. You might be the guy we're working with. Well, go back to the vegetables first. Go slower. If you have to have some cooked or steamed vegetables, absolutely. Get on those herbs for the GI tract, though. Really pull that out. Use maybe the Parasite M capsules, but definitely use the lymphatic one capsules, the stomach and bowel, whatever one you need, and pull all that out of there, and then you'll be good. And then you'll be able to add more fruits. Add whatever fruits you can when you can. Start out slow, and we talked about this before. Sometimes you have to start out a little slow in your life, especially if fruits are so impactive to tissue that sometimes you have to slow up and put a little honey on it, like a little of this Moving to Idaho honey. This is unbelievable honey from a lovely soul. Fresh honey. All right. Lovely ones, thank you so much for all your questions, and hopefully Chris will get this up this morning for you, and we've got so much more to cover tomorrow. Like I said, I'll try to come in here for 2 or 3 hours and catch up with 2, but I hope I got all these. There seems to be a lot of concern about confusion about detoxifying symptoms and healing. Oh yeah, I got this. Okay, thank you so much. You guys have a lovely day and have fun, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.